Hello and welcome to the first Micro Live of 1986, and let's hope that this year proves rather better for the computer industry than 1985 was. Well, we've come along to the National Exhibition Centre just outside Birmingham for the 1986 Which Computer Show. The organisers say the attendance figures are 30% up on last year, and most of the big names are here. Commodore with the official launch of the Amiga, IBM continuing their takeover of the world, and Apricot as the British representative in the big league. But what everyone here is trying to do is business.
8!
And we'll be taking a more detailed look at the show later on. Earlier this week, the results of the Micro Live RITA Awards were announced. RITA stands for Recognition in Information Technology Achievement, and the awards were presented in conjunction with Carners, the organisers of the Which Computer Show.
And there are 6 categories of award, the first being for Business Computer System of the Year. And on the shortlist were the Olivetti M24, Research Machines RM Nimbus, and Amstrad's bargain machine, the PCW 8256.
The winner is British Olivetti for the M24. And to receive the award is Paul Marney, who's Divisional Manager of the Microcomputer Division.
The award for User of the Year went to Delco Products Overseas Limited for installing a computer system that's already saving the company £180,000 a year. And the award for Newcomer of the Year went to Softrite Systems Limited, a company that has an impressive record in delivering tailor-made software.
And some more awards later on. Well, I'm now on the Apricot stand here, dominating the main hall. And I suppose that's only fitting because Apricot are a Birmingham-based firm, and they're on home ground. They're showing their range of business micros, including this one here, the Zen. And all of these machines can be networked. A network, of course, is a means of connecting computers together so they can share information and share programs. One very clear trend to emerge at this year's show is the growth of computer networks. Many manufacturers are showing network versions of their machines, and as if further evidence of this trend were needed, the software houses too are bringing out network versions of some of their best-selling programs. Among them is this company, Ashton Tate, who have just unveiled DBase 3 Plus, the network version of their very popular database program. Kerry Hobbs is their managing director. Kerry, what does a network database offer?
Well, there are a number of things, but primarily the microcomputer has not been able to really emulate the operational features of a mainframe because people need to share information, share files. They need to be able to input and build their operations of their company. For the first time, DBase 3 will allow you to really share that kind of information. Secondly, you can share very expensive peripherals such as laser printers and etc.
Right, thanks Kerry very much. Well, let's see how that works. This micro here is hooked up via a network to another microcomputer some distance away on the Specialist Computer Centre stand.
Well, the idea is that I can run that same program, DBase 3 Plus, on my micro here. And then the information, the files that Fred or I or anybody else who's in the network may want to use can be retrieved by all of us from the central micro.
And the program that we're both running is a very simplified database about personnel records. I'll show you just how simple. It's just for this demonstration. I want to look at the details for a chap called Alan David. And here's his record. Name, Alan David. Job title, he's the manager. And his salary is £11,000 a year.
And thanks to the fact that this machine and Fred's are networked, and we're running this program, DBase 3 Plus, which has been specifically designed for networking, I too should be able to display that same information. Let's have a look. I want to have a look at Alan's record, and there it is, Alan's personnel record.
Yes, but I've just heard that Mr. David has been promoted, lucky fellow. So I've now got to amend his record. Okay, to amend it, I simply select that option, and it's Alan once again. Alan David, he is now the managing director. Managing Director, and of course his salary has gone up to a staggering £55,000. He said he was a lucky chap. Now notice, while I'm doing all this, this particular record is locked, as it says up there. Now the meaning of that is nobody else on the network can actually get at this record while I'm working on it. So Mr. David doesn't get 2 pay rises.
We'll see about that. Actually, I think demotion and a cut-in salary would be more in line for that gentleman. Want to change the details? Want to change Alan's details? Let's see if I can. No, it says very clearly there the record for Alan is being amended by another user. So there we are. Alan's job and salary have been saved by the software.
Well, we're certain to be hearing a great deal more about networks because they're precisely what many business users need. However, typical of this industry, the different hardware manufacturers can't agree on a standard.
A new American company financed by the man who backed both Compaq and Lotus is hoping their new data management system, Paradox, is going to rival popular spreadsheets and word processors in sales. Well, what makes it so different? Well, the information is held as a series of tables, not as one file, but can be broken down into many files. In this case, we've broken it down to 3 files. The name of the person, where he lives and his credit limit, again his name, the item purchased and the quantity, and then the prices for the item and its description. Well, extracting information from 3 different files may seem quite complicated, but it uses a technique called query by example. A series of query tables like this are produced, 1 for each file, and all that's needed is a tick in the appropriate box of the information that you require. Press 1 key. It's claimed that by breaking the information down to small files makes it very much faster than holding it as one massive file. And there we have the result itself. Well, is this a new Lotus 123? Perhaps not, but it's very fast and it's easy to learn.
Well, here's an interesting idea which could thwart the software pirates. It's called the Sage Lock from Sage Software. When you buy a package, you also get a gizmo like this, which acts as a key. On loading, you're given a 4-digit code. Here we are, 1432, which corresponds to positions on these sliders. Right there. 1432. And that gives us a 4-color code down here, which is green, blue, red, white. Okay, I'll enter that. Green. Enter that. Blue. Where are we? There it is. Red and white. And we're in. The idea is that though you may be able to rip off that disc, you certainly can't copy this gizmo. They won't in fact tell me how it works, but I can reveal that there are no coloured gels inside here. It all has to do with wavelengths of light and polarising filters.
Now, earlier on this week, we had some of the most influential men in the microcomputing industry on our Micro Live stand. And they joined us to take part in our very own version of Any Questions. Facing the audience were Sir Clive Sinclair, chairman of Sinclair Research, Roger Foster, chairman of Apricot Computers, Alan Sugar, chairman of Amstrad, and from America, the inventor of the Commodore PET and now the president of Tandon Computer, Chuck Peddle. One of the most interesting exchanges came out of a question about the Motorola 68000 processor chip.
The rush towards the 68000 may have been driven more by technical enthusiasm than by genuine need. Very often, the machines that were produced did no more than people could perfectly well do on 8-bit machines. I do think that perhaps we've been inclined to rush for the exciting technical fix a little bit too fast. I mean, I obviously include ourselves very much in that camp.
Since the QL uses a Motorola 68000, aren't you saying that the QL is a bit of a mistake?
I don't think it's a mistake in the sense that obviously we've sold very many thousands of them, but we haven't sold them to the market we hoped to. We hoped that they would sell in the same sort of universal way that the Spectrum had and other machines have done. And it simply hasn't. It has sold very well by comparison with the business machines, obviously, because it's sort of a halfway house, so the numbers are quite high. But we were certainly disappointed by the numbers, we must admit that, and we certainly didn't get the market that we expected to.
Alan?
Well, I'm afraid we're in marshy territory here as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know what a Motorola 68000 is, quite frankly. My guidelines and brief given to the engineers that design the products that we produce is that we have to, as Sir Clive said, produce a machine that offers the consumer what he actually wants it to do. And our company, I've stood here at exhibitions such as this one, and noted and spoken to consumers who don't even ask what processor is inside the product that we're producing. So I tend to agree there is a tendency of a rush towards new technology, and I think what is needed by manufacturers like ourselves is somewhat of a tempering down of the enthusiasm of the design engineer, to not rush off at a tangent to stick this new thing in the machine. Let's make sure that this new thing is actually going to do something that the consumer can actually see and benefit from.
Thank you. Next question, please.
May I ask, given the amount of creativity and talent there is in British companies, do you think that by the end of the decade, a single British company will be able to break through in America?
Roger, I think I'd like to come with you for that first.
Well, we've, as you know, had a pretty serious go at breaking into the American market in the course of 1985. And you can argue that we've either been successful or unsuccessful. In practice, what we've done is we sold about 5,000 computers, business computers, worth about $8 million. Well, that, for the first year, I think is some considerable success, even though I must admit it is below the original target that we set ourselves. I think, being practical, we're going to have to settle for niche markets in America. It is so big, so dominated by IBM and other major players. But I think for British companies to succeed there, they must go for a niche in the market rather than for the scattergun approach of the volume market.
Sir Clive.
Well, that's one approach, the niche market, but the other approach is to come up with a product which is uniquely better than anything that's available from any other source. And we did that with the ZX81, and we sold over 1 million of those in the States, and of course that's history now, and we're certainly not doing much in the States now. Alan is going into the States with a unique product. He's got world leadership in his product there, and I believe he'll succeed very well. And we certainly hope in future to come up with products which have sufficient world leadership to do the same sort of thing. And I don't see any reason why a British company can't go back into the States as long as they've got real technical leadership.
Is there any other reason why British companies find it so difficult getting on their feet in the US?
Well, no, I think they identified the problem. Frankly, we're a U.S. company that hasn't taken a go at the U.S. market, except in a way that I think more people ought to try. There are a series of partners in the United States market that have distribution, that have the need for new and innovative products, and certainly people on this panel are capable of doing those. A partnership arrangement, a way of making that product sold to them, either as an OEM product or in some kind of joint venture, I think is probably the easiest way to get around the fact that some of those companies have 20 years worth of investment in distribution and a lot of relationships. You have to find a way to get in cooperation with them. But I think if you have an innovative product and you've got the right price point, you can find partners. And that's clearly the way Tannen's chosen to go into the market this time.
Just a taste there of the questions put to the experts on the Micro Live stand.
Job opportunities in computers. Well, this will be of interest to computer graduates. How do they get in? Not here, obviously. Now this is the discovery. Very nice bit of carpet here. I find a lot of the carpet around the exhibition is in fact grey, but this is a good bit of carpet. This is red. Very interesting. Now, yes, you see, here we are. This is the usual exhibition grey over here, this carpet here. That's the normal colour. It's something actually rather interesting.
Trying to get a quick look around before the rush starts.
I don't know if you can see this here. This is a lightweight telephone dispensed with buttons. There's no wiring. Very easy to use. Don't know how it works though. Excuse me, can you tell me how this phone works without any wiring in it?
It doesn't work at all, actually.
Oh, apparently it doesn't work at all.
It cuts down on the cost of calls.
Cuts down on the cost of calls. Very useful. You've got a computer over here, which works on the same principle, I see.
That's right.
Yes. Now this is pretty impressive. Look at this. Nice bit of blue carpet. I'm glad to see they've put a bit of plastic underneath this car so it doesn't muck up the carpet. Nice bit of blue. There's a little model over here I'd like you to have a look at. As you can see, they use lots of models around the exhibition. Here we see the office of yesterday. You see he's got problems. He's frustrated. He's doing karate on the desk. He's that frustrated. He's got problems. He's got vans and taxis and motorbikes. What he solves, he's also got rather bad dress sense, as it happens. If we look at the other side, you see he's solved all the problems with a box which says computer on it. And obviously all his problems are solved, except his dress sense. He's still got appalling dress sense. Notice the corporate smile. Let's have a look over here. Excuse me, I wonder if you can tell me, is this the 15 hard disk megabyte, 50 megabyte hard disk, or is this the 20? Oh, that's a printer, is it? Ah, so there's no megabytes in that one. No. What about this one? Has this got any in it? I don't know.
It's disk drive.
Disk drive, is it? Oh, what, you don't work here?
No.
Oh, sorry, it was the anorak fooled me, and I thought that was like, the corporate image.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. It's a nice carpet. Tiles. Excuse me. Where'd you get that bag from? Oh, right. I was just, I've been here for a while and I haven't got any bags yet. I think, at an exhibition like this, you've got to get bags. Perhaps I'll get some later. Now, this is interesting here, this stall here, because they're obviously being very cautious about their carpet. They've actually boarded up so that people like me, the riffraff, don't go walking all over their carpet. Let's just have a look inside. Oh, yes. Just have a look. There's two people in here, and they're, I think, probably, I don't know, they don't seem to be discussing the carpet. Perhaps they're talking about something else. Anyway, as I say, this is a nice, sturdy construction. Very nice. Well built. Wang. It's a computer company. Wang. And the people who work there, they're called the employees. Ah, yes. Carpet here is a bit grubby. Excuse me, I wonder if you could tell me, something more about this monitor system. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. I thought, that was, but it's not. Sorry. Sorry. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. Sorry. I think there's some good carpet over here. I believe it's...
Good luck.
Well, the next category in the RITA Awards was Software Product of the Year, and that was won by Compsoft for Domino, their interactive graphic shell package. Congratulations to them. And the next category is Systems Innovation of the Year, and three very interesting finalists here. The RM Nimbus, the One Per Desk from ICL, and the Liberator from Thorn EMI. Now, Mac, you were one of the RITA panel of judges. What were you looking for?
Well, the award can be given for a whole system, part of a system, or even just a peripheral. And this year, all three finalists were, of course, whole systems. So we're looking for innovation that will bring in a whole range of new microcomputer users. And we felt there was only one finalist that really fitted the bill.
And the winner I have here is ICL for One Per Desk. And to collect that award is Andy Roberts.
And that brings us to the final award, which is for Personality of the Year. Now, this award is given to the individual who, in the opinion of the judges, has made the most outstanding personal contribution to the computer industry in the UK. And the three finalists were Mike Fisher, the MD of Research Machines, Alan Sugar, the Amstrad chief, and Roger Foster of Apricot.
Whether it's the smile, the product, the balance sheet, or the total package, the winner of the 1986 Personality of the Year Award is Alan Sugar of Amstrad.
Well, throughout the show this week, visitors have had the opportunity of pledging money to Online Aid, which is the computer industry's contribution to the African famine appeal. The two journalists, Claire Gooding and Paul Walton, who thought up Online Aid, were also honoured at the RITA dinner with a special award.
Online Aid is a chance to put it back, to put something back.
and to plough some of the resources of the computer industry back into helping people, back into our communities as well, I hope, later on. And oddly enough, we were told when we started, you're crazy, and nobody's going to be interested in this. Computer people are only interested in making money. Well, actually, some of the people that said this were journalists. Hard-bitten, cynical lot. And one of the things I'm very glad to say is that it hasn't been like that. We've had a tremendous amount of help.
Two British manufacturers noticeably absent from this show this year were Sinclair and Acorn, who seem to have abandoned the mainstream business micro market. But last week, Acorn did announce a long-awaited successor to the BBC Model B Micro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the presentation and the exhibition, which is mounted jointly by BBC and Acorn Computers.
Last week, in a joint three-day launch with the BBC, Acorn introduced a new range of microcomputers. Called the Master Series, it's a family of 5 identical-looking machines based around the 128. An 8-bit machine, which is claimed to be 40% faster than the old BBC Model B and comes with a lot of built-in software. The other machines are versions of this with additional 8, 16 or 32-bit processors under the bonnet. For example, the Master 512, the 16-bit machine, comes with GEM, the icon and mouse-based system from Digital Research. In principle, it offers compatibility with the widely used MS-DOS operating system. An important feature of the machines, and something which the BBC insisted on, is that they can all be made to behave like the old BBC Micro, so that most, but not all, existing software should run. And both the new and the old machines will work together in networks. Brian Long is the managing director of Acorn.
Mr. Long, some people are saying it's 8-bit technology, old styling, and parts of a failed business machine that you're trying to launch.
Well, to anybody who says that, I'd merely ask them to come and see it, come and use it, come and see other people who've used it. I'm not going to try and defend 8-bit technology. I would just like them to come and use the computer because it's very competent.
Which market are you going for?
It's the education user, it's the small business user, it's the serious home user, the scientist who maybe uses a big mainframe machine, but he also has a lot of things he wants to do personally. A wide range of people who need that small but powerful microcomputer.
So it's the end of the home market, the end of the business market?
It's not the end of the home market, it's the end of the games market.
Brian Long talking in London last week. On this stand, the Japanese electronics company NEC have gathered together a whole range of equipment to show how modern business can use the new technology. For example, this battery-driven microcomputer can be linked using this cellular radio telephone direct to head office. The salesman can send his orders direct to the dispatch office. This microcomputer database keeps track of the stock, and this barcode reader here can log items as they're going out. And the executives of the company can keep in touch with world events by using this 24-hour satellite TV news service. This dish can handle up to 20 television channels, anything from English pop to gardening in Italian. The company's new products are designed using this computer-aided design system. The designs are entered in this microcomputer, and when they're finalized, they're printed out on this color plotter here. The executives keep in touch with each other using networked micros. This is the NEC APC3 using MSNet, just announced at the show. This can use most of the existing standard network technologies, but when one of them emerges as the standard, then it'll probably work on this microcomputer. But for the executive on the move, the office in a briefcase, a microcomputer, a modem, and a miniaturized printer. But one thing we can be absolutely certain: tomorrow's office of the future will be something quite different.
Or will it? The Unix operating system was developed 17 years ago for use on mainframe computers. It's only recently become available for micros. But this new version of it on the Torch XXX is a major launch here at this year's show. Now, with this operating system running, anything up to 50 things can be going on at the same time. But Unix is renowned for being very difficult to use. But have a look at this. What have I got here? I've got my word processing document there, but I want to use the telephone manager for a minute to make a few phone calls. While that's going on, back to the word processing. I'm using right word. Perhaps I need to check the spreadsheet. The figures there are all right. And now I'm going to send my word process document on Telecom Gold. Off it goes. And while that's sending itself off, I'll go back, I think, and make that all-important phone call. Excellent. If you've got enough brain to cope with it, that is. Well, of course, Torch are a very small company, and it remains to be seen whether many software manufacturers will make use of this amazing front end.
Obviously, in a half-hour program like this, we haven't had the opportunity of looking at every single exhibit. But, Mac, was there anything that really caught your eye?
Yes, there are a couple of Toshiba lap-held portables which I quite like. There's a 2100, which is a PC compatible with a couple of 3.5-inch discs. Not abnormal, that. But the 3100 is something quite exceptional. It's got the 286 chip in it. That's the same chip as the IBM PC-AT. It's got a 3.5-inch disc, but it's also got a 10 megabyte hard disk.
On a portable?
In a lap-held portable. It is astonishing. And both of them have this rather nice looking plasma screen, quite high resolution, but that means that it won't run on internal batteries, so you do need mains to power it up, but you can carry it around. And of course the 3100 isn't quite AT compatible. But another one I really liked, which is absolutely AT compatible, is the new Compact 286, and this is really quite an astonishing machine, because internally you can have up to 2.6 megabytes of RAM. There is a 5.25-inch interchangeable disk to put your programs in, and this time it has a 20 megabyte hard disk. And they claim that you can actually check it in as hand baggage and it goes around the world and comes out and still works. And perhaps more important, it's got a cassette backup for your hard disk. It takes about 17 minutes to back up about 10 megabytes of information, so it's quite practical. It's a very, very serious micro, and you have to be quite a serious guy to carry it around because it weighs 33 pounds.
Oh, yes, groanably luggable. Of course, the other machine that was launched this week was the Commodore Amiga, and that's proving to be quite a draw. It takes a lot of elbow work to get near the stand. It's not surprising, really, because we reviewed it before Christmas. It's got a lot of very good facilities. Something new that they brought out with it is a thing called Genlock. It's an add-on which allows you to take a video image and put computer graphics on top of it, so you can see what your favourite MP looks like with a bald head and a moustache and glasses and so on. Wonderful. The other thing I noticed was, well, I've been looking at printers recently, and it seems to me that the choice is between daisy wheel printer if you want really good text and dot matrix if you want pretty pictures. No choice anymore, because look, now the Brother printer, the Brother Twin Writer, will allow you to do both. Here we've got dot matrix graphics at the bottom, we've got daisy wheel printer at the top. It's actually got two heads, so it just goes to prove that two heads are better than one. Ouch.
But just before we go, some of the pupils and teachers of the Ward Freeman School in Royston decided to raise some money to buy their school a new computer. Well, last night they set out on a sponsored run, and with a bit of luck they should be arriving at their destination any minute now. Aha! Here they are, right on cue. Well done, congratulations. Now, I gather that the run has raised you both cash and equipment, yes?
Yes, we've raised about £2,000 in cash, and lots of our sponsors have donated plenty of hardware for the computers.
That's wonderful. Well, do you know you are now £100 better off than you thought you were, thanks to the organisers of this exhibition.
Lovely, thank you.
So you've now got £2,100 to spend. Happy shopping, and well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week. We'll be back at the same time next week when Fref will be reporting on some rather stunning fractal graphics. Never heard of them? Well, they could contain the secret of life itself. But until then, goodbye.
There you are. I just wanted to say that